In the news on Vanguard Live, I am Precious Chukudi. We begin with the front pages of the papers this morning, starting off with Vanguard. Vanguard is leading with cabinet infighting as APC calms pitch for ministerial jobs. The writer says that lobbies besiege Aso Rock. President may send list to Senate July 4th. As special advisors may supervise ministers. Financial Vanguard has this story. Manufacturers spend 144.5 billion naira on self-generated power in 1 year. High energy costs push down output. Reduce costs on businesses suggests way forward. New Electricity Act will be beneficial, and that's coming from Man Nasima. On page 10, 10th Senate, disclose pension paid to you as ex-governor. SERAP tells Akpabio others. Subsidy removal. Stabilize economy before new minimum wage. NECA tells the federal government. And we have FOREX. Allow customers free access to domiciliary accounts from CBN Others Bank. Economy. Nigerians power generators with cooking gas. On page 6, bandit kill local chief, his 4 children in Kaduna. Stories above. Kwara boat mishap. Niwa blames the windy rain, overloading, lack of navigational aid. You can see that on page 41. NGE President Atiku Saraki Oyebanji Sanwo-Olu congratulates Ezeanaba. You can see that on page 10. Electricity, 58% of consumers without meters, and that's coming from NEC. 24 hours curfew declared in Plateau, that's Plateau local government area. You can see that on page 13. And lastly, on the front page of Vanguard, Islamization comment, El-Rufai should be invited by DSS. That's coming from MBF. All right, let's take a look at the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian is leading with household under pressure as new electricity tariff due July 1st. And we can see an infograph showing the available grid electricity from 17 power plants. And on page 6, petrol subsidy, government, Labour resume negotiation on implementation framework. Fuse over bill to regulate Christian preaching. You can see that on page 4. 10th National Assembly, disclose pensions paid to you as ex-governors. SERAP tells Akpabio others. I was poisoned at PDP office, suffered liver kidney failure, says Wike. You can see that on page 29. Stories above. Amid subsidy removal pains, experts advocate long-term benefits. Professionals deploy high cost of treatment as World Sickle Cell Day holds. All right, let's have a look at the Nation newspaper. The Nation is leading with Akpabio Abbas. Lawmakers will back Tinubu to deliver. The writer says that we are yet to work, says the First Lady. Orderly rates President's performance high. And central bank lifts a restriction on domiciliary accounts. Stories above. Overloading, windy rain, cause of Kwara boat tragedy. Investors gain 3.28 trillion naira in 3 weeks. Bank tightens the foreign forex process to block racketeering. South African displays the Dangote as Africa's richest. And lastly, on the front page of the Nation, Super Eagles qualify for AFCON 2024. All right, let's take a look at the Punch newspaper. The Punch is leading with subsidy. Labour threatens strike, resumes talk with federal government. The writer says pain becoming unbearable, strike suspended, not called off. NLC TUC. 8 feared killed as flood submerges Lagos community. You can see that story on pages 4 and 5. Operator overloaded ill-fated boat with 250 passengers. That's come from Niwa. You can see that on page 14. Ship owners reject a proposed NIMASA custom measure. Stories above. CBN removes savings withdrawal limit on domiciliary accounts. NUT lambasts governors as teachers shortage rises. Lastly, on the front page of the Punch newspaper, Power project, federal government secures a $750 million World Bank loan. And that's all we can take on the front pages of the papers this morning. Join us after the break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. If you're just joining us still today in the news on Vanguard Live, I am Precious Chukudi. And joining me to talk about some of the stories on the front pages of the paper is Mr. Ali Mohammed, the CEO of Magnet Communications. was former editor of Daily Times and Concord newspaper. Good morning, sir. Good to have you,
Morning,
Jamie, this
Precious.
morning.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. All right, let's delve into what we're talking about this morning. And of course, we've started to hear about, some persons, in the APC who are jostling for the ministerial seats. And some of them have gone ahead to say that only genuine APC party members deserve to be appointed. And it won't
No.
be like what was, in the former administration where some people that were not a member of their party actually benefited from the last dispensation. What are your thoughts on that?
Number one, I want to say that it is normal for people to lobby for positions when we have a new government in place, just like that of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It is also normal that non-politicians, especially technocrats, will be recommended for positions. So it is wrong for party members to insist that only members of the APC should be appointed ministers or special advisors. I am against that because you wouldn't know who else, apart from party members, worked to support the president's election. Some people worked from behind. They really didn't have to be party members. They could be businessmen. Some could just be in love with the president, and they all came out to contribute to his election. I am not going to support the situation where the winner takes all. No, it is wrong in a democracy. He should be allowed to form an all-inclusive government. We want square pegs in round holes. We want competent people in different positions of authority. We want people that will perform. We want people that will be chosen based on their track record of performance in their various positions, in the various positions that they have held or that they are holding presently. So I am against a situation where party members are saying that no, it must be APC members. What if those APC members, some of them, Jocelyn, we've seen members of the APC who are in the House of Reps speaking completely silly English as if they are uneducated. There is one that has been on air for some time. I don't want to mention his name. We know the quality of his English. Also, if you are unfortunate to have so many of such people in from a particular section of the country, will you insist that they should be appointed ministers or special advisors? No. Nigeria is too it is too important for us to allow mediocres, non-performers to be part of this administration. People are looking forward to the Tinubu administration to stabilize the economy of this country. People are looking forward to the Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration to bring back Nigeria to the path of glory that we have had in the past. So it is wrong, it is unacceptable by me for APC members or some APC members to insist that only party members should be appointed ministers or should be given positions of authority. No.
All right, we know that the president obviously appointed some advisors last week, and some people have the opinion that he might likely give more power to special advisors than ministers, and that ministers would just be like ceremonial heads. Do you agree?
Unofficially, special advisors cannot have more powers. I mean, officially, special advisors cannot have more powers than the ministers. However, depending on the caliber and the track record of those special advisors, they could be unofficially more powerful than a minister, depending on the level of their closeness to the president. We used to have one private secretary who was very close to the former president. He was more powerful than a minister. I was told that the president would approve names, he will remove those names and replace them with other names. He was that powerful. That young man has been allowed to escape from this country today because of the powers, the strength of his connection with the president. So I'm saying that as an example of people who could be more powerful than ministers. Yes, it can happen. I'm not saying that it can't happen. It can happen, but officially, if you look at the track record of ministers in this country, special advisors are usually below them. They are placed below them. But you can't have an unusual situation where, due to the connections of some special advisors, they could be more powerful and in fact control ministers, depending on the strength of their connection with the president and commander-in-chief.
All right, moving on. SERAP has asked the Senate President Akpabio and 13 former governors in the 10th Senate to disclose their life pension they received from their state as former governor within 7 days. What are your thoughts on this one?
You see, I'm seriously against all these pensions, either life or temporary. It is a crazy way of siphoning money from the state government coffers. A governor that has been in power for 8 years is going, and you are giving him so much millions for life. A governor that has stolen enough from the state treasury, he's given additional millions. So when are we going to create time for the poor people in our different states? Go to some of these states, they don't have good hospitals. Go there, they don't have good roads. Yet you have billions of naira as budget for severance benefits for governors who have stolen more than they need. I keep saying it. The society encourages corruption in Nigeria. It would be stupid for any system to give additional millions of naira to a state governor that has been in power for 8 years. Mention one governor that has been in power for 8 years that is not a billionaire today. I can't point to any of them. So it is senseless to waste the public funds for governors who are already billionaires, who should even be questioned on the sources of their billions. So that aspect of our laws, I think, should be corrected. It should be corrected. You don't continue to enrich the already rich. People who have so much money that they have even forgotten where those monies are. So we need to correct this. I support SERAP. I support SERAP completely. They should declare what they have collected and let the people know. If possible, the so-called pension or whatever benefit should be stopped, because you don't continue to enrich the people who are far more than rich. People who can afford to buy private jets and nobody is questioning them.
One of the challenges we've always had is before some governors are trying to assume office or ministers, there's this failure for them to even declare their assets. Why exactly? And we just keep saying that, they are being asked to declare their assets, nothing is being done, and next thing, that matter just dies off.
You see, the problem is impunity. I keep saying it. Impunity can breed any evil. How can you ask somebody who has just been elected, a governor or president, to declare his assets? And you have the asset that he has declared. After 4 years, he's supposed to come over again and declare the current assets. But he will go back there and declare the one he declared 4 years ago, knowing fully well that this man has stolen money. And nobody is ready to do anything. Do you know how many cases that are with the EFCC and the body, the anti-corruption body, cannot do anything about those cases? VIP cases. There are many there. I can start counting. But unfortunately, the so-called corrupt people are all over the country. They are operating, they are even into various businesses, and nobody is saying anything about that. Nobody is thinking of bringing them to book. It is only the ones that have offended the powers that be that are prosecuted and jailed. After 1 or 2 years, they will be freed under being granted state pardon. All these acts breeds corruption, because people should be punished for the crimes they commit, no matter who you are. Former president of South Africa, he was prosecuted, out of office, and jailed. He's still in jail till today, although they gave him a parole. How many former presidents have been jailed in Nigeria? How many governors have been
One
jailed?
even told us nobody can do anything to him.
He said, once I am, if you want to trouble me in my hometown, I will go to Niger. And so that means you have something to hide from the onset. When he was going to leave office, he said, if people come to trouble me, I will leave Nigeria and go to Niger. Either right or wrong, they showed a big mansion, allegedly built by some of the Nigerian contractors for him in Niger. You see, nobody should be above the law. Nobody should be. Either you are a former president, you are a former senator, you are a former governor. Yes, you have immunity when you are in office. Once you are out of office, your immunity ends, and you must be subjected to probe. If you are found guilty, you must be prosecuted. If we continue to apply those rules, we already have those rules under the Nigerian Police Act. All these establishment of EFCC, anti-corruption agencies, wouldn't have been necessary if the police has been doing its work. Go and check the penal code. All these laws are there. But it is because the police itself is so corrupt that they cannot arrest any corrupt person. And you have the anti-corruption agencies like ICPC and EFCC. They have, look at the amount of money stolen by a young man. And you keep talking about giving the young a chance. Look at that young man, Bawa. He took his family to Hajj, spent over $300,000 and some other currencies. That is a young man for you. So where is the hope for Nigeria? If a young man that is not yet 45, 50 is put in a position of authority and he has abused that authority so much, he has enriched himself. He sold houses that were seized to his friends and cronies. Some of the money allegedly collected as evidence were looted by this young man. Is there any hope for Nigeria if we continue to have young men like this? So we have to sit down and try as much as possible to eradicate impunity in Nigeria. If we don't, we'll continue to face corrupt actions from people, whether they are young or old. We must ensure that workers are well paid. If you pay workers very well and they still go ahead to steal, then please punish them.
All right, moving on. The CBN has ordered banks to allow customers have unfettered access to funds in their domiciliary accounts to the tune of $10,000 per day. What's your take on that?
That's a good development. In the past, it used to be $4,000. From $4,000 to nothing under the regime of Emefiele. If you want to go abroad, you have to source for your foreign exchange from the Malams at whatever rate they give to you. No matter how much you have in your bank, you can't collect up to 1,000. At a point, they didn't have foreign exchange. And those who were close to the then governor of central bank were the only ones that had access to foreign exchange at reduced rate. They call it official rate. While the rest of us had to buy foreign exchange at over 900,000. What is it now? 900 naira per dollar at a point. You can see the difference between a corrupt CBN governor and those who are not corrupt. The acting CBN governor knew that the action of the former CBN governor was wrong, but he couldn't do anything, despite the fact that he was director of operations at the CBN there. That is when you see people arrogantly and wickedly using their positions of authority. That's one of the results. Because you can't tell me that if you and I have access to $10,000 now, it is going to hurt the economy. You have people who have access to $300,000 to perform Hajj with his family in cash and in cards. And I, who is going on a legitimate trip, can't even have access to $2,000 officially. It is bad and it is sad. You are not helping the economy by restricting the movement of dollars, because you don't know if I'm going abroad to do a business that will also yield me dollars. I am not going to save the dollars abroad. I'm going to transfer it to Nigeria. Every dollar transferred into our economy adds to the growth of the economy. But you have restricted the circulation of dollars for those who were importing fuel, for those of us who want to trade outside Nigeria, for those who are even trading in currency. And so, how do you want to have additional dollars when the dollars you have not been put to work? It was a very senseless policy by Emefiele, and thank God he's out of power.
All right, moving on. Let's look at this one. According to reports, Nigeria's electricity generation has affected our manufacturing sector, with the cost of self-generated power in the sector soaring to 144.5 billion in 2022, up 87.13% from 77.22 billion naira in 2021. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I thought electricity distribution has improved a little since we had a new government, because in my area we've been having constant power supply.
According to report, they're saying it dropped. It dropped last
No,
week.
I'm telling you what the situation is in the area that I live. All through the weekend that I was at home, there were a few disconnections. Yes, for a few hours, and light was restored. Let me tell you how to break the back of those who are behind the scandal that is affecting electricity distribution in this country. That is the decentralization of power generation in this country now, as signed by President Bola Tinubu. If the state governments start generating power, you and I can apply for a license to generate power. Then in the next 1 year, we will have an improved power supply. Because if it is left in the hand of greedy businessmen that we have, look at electric meters. They are supposed to be distributed free. If you want one electric meter today, single phase, you will pay over 100,000 to NEPA. That is something that is supposed to be distributed free of charge. If you want a 3-phase meter, you are going to pay close to 300,000. I am telling you with all authority that that is the situation out there. But all that will be things of the past very soon, because with the decentralization of power generation in Nigeria, we are going to see a massive improvement in power generation. And don't forget that we also have alternatives. Solar power generation. You can generate solar power and link it to the grids. All you need to do is to get it right. And if you want to go into power generation, you can request for a license as a company and do that now, because that bill has been signed. So a combination of all these improvements will restore and improve power generation in Nigeria. So all the nonsense they are saying there is just for some time. Like the CBN governor has been removed, EFCC chairman has been removed, the hammer will soon go to that sector. I am telling you, you can be sure in the next 6 weeks, the hammer will get to that sector.
All right, let's take a look at Mr. and Mrs. And Mr. is speaking this morning. He says, yesterday was Father's Day, not even a word of greetings from you. And Mrs. said, are you my father?
I heard that yesterday too. Somebody asking, a wife asking the husband, you are not my father, but you are the father of my children. Women and arrogance. God will deliver us.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Ali Mohammed, CEO of Magnet Communications, for my Daily Times and Concord Newspaper. Thank you for sharing your thought with us this morning.
You're most welcome.
Also, remember that you can equally like, share, and subscribe on all our social media platforms showing on your screen. Find out up-to-date stories. Go to our website, www.vanguardindia.com. I am Precious Chukudi, and thank you for watching.